There's two main reasons that I see vets get their VA disability claims denied all the time. One is simply a lack of evidence to show a service connection, and the other is a lack of evidence to show a current diagnosis. This has happened to me. It's happened to probably you. It's happened to a lot of veterans. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to talk about getting a current diagnosis first versus just putting in symptoms of what you're experiencing. I'm going to show you today why getting that current diagnosis first is the foundation for every claim, and then how you can avoid this mistake so that you can get your VA disability claim approved the first time versus waiting around for months or even years. But before I do that, please hit the subscribe button, like the video if you like the content. It helps the channel grow and it helps to get it out there to other veterans. All right, so why a diagnosis matters. If you've watched any disability videos about the VA, you know that there's three main components for every VA disability claim to be approved. You know that there's a current diagnosis, an event or some sort of injury that happened in service, and then a nexus between the two. Those are the three that you need. That's exactly what the VA raters know that they need to do to make sure that they comply with the law, to make sure that your VA disability rating can be approved. So without that diagnosis, the VA essentially stops at that step and denies the claim. Think about this like building a house. The diagnosis is the foundation, and without that foundation, there's no house. So without that current diagnosis, and I say current diagnosis because if this was diagnosed while you were in the military 10 years ago, the VA may deny it based on the fact that there's not a current diagnosis. And a lot of times what happens is when you're at the C&P exam, the C&P examiner can make the determination that you don't have a current diagnosis. Now, if the C&P examiner gives you a current diagnosis, that's a different story. But sometimes they won't do that because they only have, although they're supposed to allot more time, sometimes those C&P exams might only take 15 minutes. So if you get a C&P examiner who doesn't explore or dig, you may not get that current diagnosis. That's why it's so important. Now, I'm just gonna go through a couple examples of just some try to give a little bit of reality to this and how it looks. The first one is headaches, and I think this one's easy to mess up because I've messed it up. Putting headaches down and sending a claim off to the VA by just saying headaches is, without getting any type of diagnosis or going to the doctor to get it documented, can be one of those conditions that a lot of vets probably make the mistake of doing. Think about it this way. We all get headaches, or at least most of us do. And when we do, we don't go to the doctor. There's no need to go to the doctor for a headache, typically. You get a migraine, you lay down on the couch, but the VA wants to see that you were diagnosed with that. And it is a little weird that you have to go do that. And, maybe you can get away with not getting a current diagnosis. Maybe you can articulate how these headaches feel and maybe write a personal statement and get it approved. But if you want to submit a claim, and I want you to think about how much time a VA disability claim takes. They can take a year sometimes. So yes, you could submit a disability claim without getting a diagnosis from a doctor that you have headaches, and you could write a personal statement and then hope that C&P examiner and the rater side in your favor. But it's very likely that you'll get that denied, and then you're waiting again, and then you're gonna have to go back and get that diagnosis, and so you're waiting longer and longer and longer. My advice, if you have headaches, is to go see a doctor. It can just be during a normal routine exam. Hey, doc, I have these headaches. I don't know what causes them. Maybe they can help you figure that out. But a current diagnosis is definitely important. Another common one is neck or back pain, or really, any pain anywhere. And I think what a lot of vets do is they put, neck pain or back pain, and instead of going to the doctor and figuring out why there is neck pain or back pain, right? If you go to the doctor and you get x-rays, you're gonna find out that you have, degenerative disc disease or arthritis or something like that is causing the neck or the back pain. And as you do that, you're building up evidence and you're showing that you have these conditions and that's what's causing this. And while you're doing that, it'll also help build evidence up for why or how you think that what caused it. Maybe you do have service records from when you were in the military where you complained about neck pain or back pain that you can help connect it to that. But if you don't have that current diagnosis to show like what that back or neck pain is, you're very likely going to get denied. Another one is joint pain. If you say something like, hey, I have knee pain, and you write that into your claim, instead of like going to the doctor and finding out that you have osteoarthritis, it just makes your claim a little bit cleaner. Okay, we're all developing strategies here, and this is one of the strategies, is figuring out what it is that's causing that pain. And then you have evidence showing that happened. And then while you and your doctor are trying to figure it out, you can backtrack that to your military service when you had an injury, or from your ruck marches or jumping out of planes, whatever it is. That's how you build that claim. We don't want to just throw a generic statement, knee pain or joint pain, into a VA disability claim and hope that it gets approved. We want to have that current diagnosis. Okay, another one might be sleep problems. It's just go to the doctor and ask them what's going on, what kind of problem am I having. Maybe it's sleep apnea, maybe it's insomnia or some other sleep condition. Know what it is that you're going up for, what you have, what your problem is. You know what your symptoms are. You know that you have those sleep problems, but what is it? It's better for you to do it and get it documented and understand it than having the VA do it and send it off, because I promise you a lot of the time it's going to get denied and you're just going to be back to square one. The last one is mental health. Obviously it's better to go to a doctor first and get an idea of what it is that you have. Is it anxiety? Is it depression? Is it PTSD? What is it? It's obviously better for you to take care of that. I will tell you that I have been impressed with what I've heard about some of the CMP examiners on the mental health side of the house, and I think that's because they're only using specialists in that field, so they spend more time trying to understand it. So that is the one that I would give a little bit of leeway on, but it is better just to go ahead and get that done. Look, if you're watching this video, you're trying to figure out how to get your VA disability claims approved, I want to invite you to check out a free digital product that I have. It's like a brainstorm disability worksheet, and it basically a Google Sheet document, and it helps you kind of go through your service treatment records to find symptoms or diagnosis that you had while you were in the military, and then you write them down in the Google Sheets document, and then it helps you on another tab kind of figure out like what you should write for service connection. Kind of helps you kind of draft up that personal statement, or at least your theory of what's going on. And then it asks a bunch of questions in there, and you click boxes, and then on the third tab, it helps you figure out whether or not you have enough. Okay, it's not perfect, but it's very helpful for those of you who like to do it, like kind of like the document and see everything in front of you. If you'd like a copy to that, just comment down below, brainstorm worksheet, and I'll just give you a link to it, and hopefully that helps you out. All right, so now that we talked about like some of the common disabilities or that a lot of veterans push up, just the symptoms and not the diagnosis, let's talk about how to get a diagnosis. And honestly, this is easy. Go to your primary care doctor, whether it's just showing up, hey doc, I want to talk to you about these headaches that I get. I know it's not a normal thing, but like I get these headaches. What do you think's causing it? Who knows? Who knows what it's going to be? I would explain to your doctor then, especially if you're going to put in a claim. If you already think that you're service connected for this, and maybe you had some headaches while you're in the military, tell your doctor, bring those medical records in and show your doctor, listen, I've been documenting headaches since I was in the military, or I had a TBI. Is it possible that this is causing it? That's going to really help you not only with getting that current diagnosis and the evidence that's associated with that, like the different scans and whatnot, but it's also going to help you with that current diagnosis. So it'll be a ready-made claim, and it'll be very easy for the VA examiner and the VA rater to just check off the box and give it to you. Not give it to you, you earn that, but like get it to you quicker than what you would have if you just kind of threw it in there. You may need to request referrals to specialists, neurologists, orthopedists, mental health providers. But whatever you need to do to get that done, do that, because the more evidence you have in your favor, the better the chances or the outcome is going to be. Make sure that you keep records of all visits, your tests, your prescriptions. Those are all going to become key evidence. And then we're going to talk about in other videos about tying everything together in your personal statement and talk about symptoms, and so that we make this thing really easy for the VA rater to give you the rating that you deserve, so you're not going back and appealing for increases, because that's the most important part. All right, so why does getting a current diagnosis save time? I've said it, if you submit it without a current diagnosis, you're pretty much guaranteeing yourself a denial in most cases. And like I said, denials are gonna add months, even years to claims. I mean, I'm telling you from my experience that I have done this the wrong way. And I've seen the better way. And the better way is to make sure that you get a current diagnosis. Getting yourself diagnosed up front so that you can get that quicker approval and hopefully avoid appeals. Not saying that it's possible to avoid all appeals, but we can avoid some of them. So listen, I talked about that brainstorm worksheet. If that's something that might help you out, just type it down below, brainstorm worksheet, and I'll get you a link to it. Good luck.